Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training, here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. This week, we're talking about good question, Ted Lasso, and how questions can help us manage our response ability. It's been a rainy 4th of July weekend in Ohio, and we took advantage of that last night by introducing my dad to Ted Lasso, my favorite show of all times. I am not one to rewatch shows, with the exception of Law and Order SVU, of course, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen those reruns as well. But I've watched Ted Lasso, the first 2 seasons at least, a couple times during my workouts or just listening when I'm mowing the grass, just because I think it's funny. And every time I watch or listen, I laugh and I learn. It's a great show if you haven't watched it. I highly recommend it. Well, we're in season 3 now, and as we were watching last night, my dad said it's entertaining, and that's a win. He didn't say it was the best show he's ever seen, but he said it's entertaining, and he giggled and laughed, and we smiled, and it's a good, feel-good show. Well, in the episode that we watched last night, we're still in season 3, haven't finished yet, so don't spoil it yet. Coach Lasso is introducing what he calls, or what is called, total football. He thought that he invented it, but it had been invented before, used by the Dutch team, apparently. And what total football is versatility. Well, it's 4 things, and we know 3 things now. For the 4th thing, he hasn't revealed yet. But one of the things that he talked about in this episode was versatility. And last week, I promised you that I would give you tips number 2 and 3, or power tools number 2 and 3 that I used last week at the NCATA Summit, Coaches Summit. That's acro and tumbling coaches, an emerging sport in the NCAA. I got to speak with that group of coaches last week. It was awesome. But the first tool, or power tool, that we talked about in that, and that I explained last week, was our ability to choose one thought over the other, and the power that gives us. Well, this total football and power tool number 2 have a lot in common. Power tool number 2 is our response ability. And you've heard this before, and before you change the channel or speed on through, we're going to tie our responsibility to this total football. And the way that these things connect is this, is Coach Lasso was asking his team to be versatile, and in that way he said, ask the question like this: what does this situation need? What do I need to do now? If Jamie Tart goes that way, or Colin goes that way, these are the guys in the show, right? Then I need to fill in here, or I need to go there. We're playing off of each other, making our shape that way, our attack is that way, but we're looking at what the situation needs. It's like OTL. Our kids at Akron will be able to use that acronym forever. Observe the landscape. It's having us ask questions. And what does this do for our performance? It does all kinds of things for our performance. Number 1, if we can ask a question, that is a great response to something that's ahead of us. It gives us power in our ability to stop, look, observe, and then move. What does asking questions do for us? It helps us see what other people around us need, which helps other people, which then helps ourselves. It helps us get out of our navel gazing, easy for me to say, looking down at our shoes, thinking about what's going on in our head. It gets us out of our own head and gets us out here, outward thinking, as opposed to inner thinking. It helps us observe, and that's what champions do. We scan and then we snipe. It helps us look for solutions. It takes things that are obstacles and moves them over to the solution side of the board. Because as soon as we ask our question, our brain automatically looks for answers. And that's a good thing. We're looking for solutions instead of looking for problems, which is our nature, and we know that. Asking a question enhances our response ability. Now, these are not why or victim-like questions. These are powerful questions. What? How? Action-oriented questions. What does this situation need? It's very similar to Trevor Moawad's question that he asked in the book Getting to Neutral, and the whole name of that book is Getting to Neutral, How to Conquer Negativity and Thrive in a Chaotic World. He asks, what does this situation require of me? This helps us shift to neutral. It helps us look at what's ahead of us and move on to the next play. I did this, and now I need to do this. Why? How do I know? Because I looked, I asked, and I saw, and I made a decision, and I moved forward. Asking why helps us think of all the reasons of why. Why did you do this, or why did you do that? Why is not relevant. What, when we're performing, is relevant. What do I need to do right now? What does this situation need? If you listen to Ethan Kross, the author of Chatter, The Voice in Your Head, he talks about Will Smith. He says that everybody has a question that we ask ourselves all the time. Will Smith's question is this: what can I do to make this situation better? Now, he may not have been asking that question when he smacked Chris Rock in the face. Apparently, he forgot to ask the question at that point. If he would have, maybe he wouldn't have done it. But the point is that this question takes him to calm. It takes him to a place where he finds a little bit of control. And that gives him an edge. It also enhances the lives and the performance and the actions and the comfort of everyone around him. Rising tides lift all ships. So if we are looking for what we can do now, we are helping everyone. We're helping the entire situation. Coach Lasso did say that just because we make a decision, it may not be the right one, but sometimes the right one is behind another one. So when we're moving something from the problem side of the board to the solution side of the board, if we are taking one step forward, it may not be the end-all be-all result or fix, but it's moving us forward. It's not about feeling great. It's not about being ridiculously hopeful. It's about looking to see what's in front of us and asking what we should do. It's Roosevelt's great saying of doing what we can, or asking the question of what can we do now with where we are and what we have. And I screwed that up, but look up the quote. And if I can find it here, yes. Doing what we can with what we have where we are. It's being response able. It's power. So these questions that we can ask ourselves are really unlocking our ability to manage what's in front of us. It's unlocking our responsibility. It's unlocking our power. And what a powerful tool this is. If we can respond appropriately, set ourselves up for that, then we are going to be more successful. Even if it's not the perfect solution, we're moving in a productive way. And that's the direction that helps us get from where we are to wherever it is that we need to go. So this week, as we're celebrating the independence of our country, as we're taking a few days and taking some time for ourselves, whether it's something that we're dealing with at home or something we're dealing with on the pitch like Ted Lasso's team, if we can ask a question and find solutions, we are harnessing our power. And how cool is that? So until next week, ask good questions, manage moments, happy 4th of July, and have a great holiday week.